Hi, I'm Andrew, and this is Lily.
And today we're going to show you how to heat shrink the grip on your Polespear, like this, and your husband.
Hey. Okay, so you're going to want to take your heat shrink tube out of the packaging. We just got these on Amazon. They just came in today. In this case, we ordered 5-foot long strips that are 1 inch in diameter, which happens to fit perfectly over our shaft with the copper wire grip. If you have more thin grip or a more thin shaft, then you're actually going to be able to use like maybe 3/4 inch heat shrink tube, but in this case 1 inch diameter works perfectly for us because we already measured up 2.5 feet of grip, and this is a 5-foot tube. We're just gonna fold it in half and split it in half. So with our side cutters, we're just gonna cut it in half. Doesn't have to be that pretty for this job. Okay, so we'll shimmy up the last one, and it doesn't matter actually if the heat shrink tube is a little bit too wide. See how easy that goes on? It might seem like it's too wide, but this stuff actually shrinks down to 1/3 of the size. So it's a 1 inch diameter, it'll actually shrink down to only 1/3 of an inch. So it'll be nice and tight around this shaft, which is 5/8. And you want to leave a little bit of room on the butt end. You don't want it to be covering the butt end, otherwise that will fold over and it will prevent you from being able to insert the butt end of your shaft, and you won't be able to screw that in once the heat shrink tube shrinks down on that. So you want to make sure that this joint is free from any tubing. Do this outside because it smells a little bit funny with the heat shrink tubes and the heat gun. You can put this nozzle on there. Okay, so we got our nozzle on here just to shelter the heat and focus the heat a little bit better in this slight breeze. So you want to start on low heat, and then if that's not doing it for you, like on this particular gun, it can actually handle a higher heat, then you can put it on the high heat. You don't want to start on too high of a heat. So there you go, you see how that's shrinking down? And underneath you can see our copper wire being revealed as it shrinks down and snugs up on that. You want to keep the heat gun moving. You don't want to focus it and hold it on one spot. So you want to be starting from the butt end and then working your way up. That way you're just making sure that your heat shrink tube doesn't shift on you. You want to be starting at the bottom. You don't want to end up starting from the front end and then ending up, oh shoot, I don't have enough tube left to shrink on the butt end. So it just seals off the end nicely. When you're doing this, you want to make sure that you don't get too far ahead on one side. Like, you don't want to keep on going now. You want to flip over to the other side and make sure that you're keeping things even. And just rotate that around as you go around. Before you seal off the end, you want to just make sure that your copper wire is still going to end up being underneath. You want to seal that off, and it looks like we'll have enough space. If not, you can always go in there with the side cutters and cut it back a bit. But I think that should be okay. Keep an eye on that as we come closer to the end here. Let's take one more look. Yeah, it looks like we're okay. Careful, it's also a little bit hot. I'm just going to cut back the electrical tape a tiny little bit. It will also help it seal off a little bit better. It's pretty hot, but it's not hot enough that it's going to burn my fingers, so that's why you can see me touching where I just had the heat gun. But you definitely don't want to be grabbing on that if your gun's hotter than this one. It looks pretty good, but let's just go over it one more time again. We're just going to follow the wire around in particular because this is where you can see it's more susceptible to not be shrunk all the way. I don't see it moving, so it looks like we did a good job. Okay, good. So that completes that. Everything feels nice and snug on there. That feels like a good grip. Looks nice. My fingers aren't going to slide when I load that band. Okay, so I'm just going to screw the butt end in and stick the band on. So the way that I put these bands on, different people put them on a little bit different, but it's really easy. You just slide the one end through, make a loop, and you pull the band back through it. Then you just even things out. That looks good. So now I have grip all the way up here. So when I'm loading, I have grip, and then also where I hold the loaded spear, I have grip. So it's really nice. A lot of Polespears, you'll have the grip comes up short. It'll come up to where you hold it, but then you don't have anything to pull up loading. So that's why we have a good 2.5 feet of this. And it also depends on what band you're using. This is just a small little band. Usually I actually have a longer butt end. It comes out another foot almost. So then I have a heavier band, and then I'm actually even holding the loaded band even a little bit higher. So it all depends on your setup, but I like to have lots of grip. I might even add a little bit more grip later. Who knows? We'll try it out in the water.
Thanks for watching Ontario Freedivers. We hope you learned something new. Please give us a like and leave a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and have fun in the water.